Hi everyone, welcome back to Learn with Michaela. Today we're going to break down all of the main modal verbs in English. That's right, not just can and should, but also may, might, ought to, and more. We'll explore together what each one means, when to use them, and some mistakes to avoid. So grab a notebook and let's get started. So firstly, what are modal verbs? Modal verbs are helper verbs. They come before the main verb, for example, expressing things like ability, obligation, advice, or possibility. Here's the structure: subject plus the modal verb and then the base verb. So now that we've taken a look at the structure and discussed what modal verbs are, let's take a look at which modal verbs we use in which circumstances. Let's take a look at ability and possibility. We use can for present ability or permission. Examples include I can swim or can I go out tonight? Could is used for past ability, polite requests, or less certain possibility. For example, I could run fast when I was a kid, or could you please help me? May is used for formal permission or possibility. For example, may I ask a question? Or it may rain later. And finally, in this category, we use might for weak possibility. For example, she might come to the party. She might, as in maybe yes or maybe no. Now let's take a look at what modal verbs we can use for advice and suggestions. Should is used to give advice. For example, you should eat more vegetables, or you shouldn't be so rude. Ought to is another modal verb that's very similar to should, but more formal. For example, you ought to respect your elders. It's the same as saying you should respect your elders, just slightly more formal. And shall is used for suggestions and offers in British English. For example, shall we go? Or shall I help you? Shall is definitely more commonly used in British English. In American English, you will rarely hear shall used. Perhaps in the legal sector, but not in much else. Perhaps you can try making your own sentence using one of these modal verbs for advice. Let me know in the comments what's a piece of advice you'd like to give a younger version of yourself. Write in the comments, I can't wait to read them. Moving on, let's take a look at some modal verbs we use to talk about obligation or necessity. Must. This is used for strong obligation, personal importance, or law. For example, you must wear a seatbelt, or I must finish this project today. Mustn't is the opposite. It means prohibition. For example, you mustn't touch that. Have to is an external obligation. For example, I have to go to work. Here, the rule comes from outside, such as a boss or a system. The difference between must and have to is that must is an internal or personal obligation, whereas have to is used to talk about external obligation. And finally, don't have to. This is a lack of necessity, not prohibition. For example, you don't have to come if you're busy. This means it's okay if you don't come. I'm not going to be mad or sad. So tell me in the comments what's something you have to do every day. Now let's take a look at the final category of modal verbs: future and conditional. Will is used for future facts and promises, and would is used for hypotheticals, polite speech, and past habits. For example, I would love to travel more. Would you like some tea? When I was a child, I would play outside every day. Would is used in the second conditional. For example, if I had money, I would buy a car. The structure of the second conditional is if, past simple, would, and then the verb structure. See if you can finish this sentence in the comment section. If I won the lottery, I would. I look forward to reading what you would do if you won the lottery. Now let's see what you can remember. Question 1. I borrow your phone. Is the answer A, can, B, should, C. Must. The answer is, can I borrow your phone? Good job if you got it right. Question 2. You eat so much sugar. Is the answer A. Should, B. Might, or C. Must? The answer is, you should eat so much sugar. Question 3. It rain later, so take an umbrella. Is the answer A. Must, B. Might, or C. Shall? The answer is, it might rain later, so take an umbrella. And finally, question 4. I study tonight. My exam is tomorrow. Is the answer A. May, B. Must, or C. Could? The answer is, I must study tonight. My exam is tomorrow. How did you do? Did you get 4 out of 4? Let me know in the comments section. And now, just to finish, let's have a quick recap of all of the modal verbs. Can is used for ability and permission. For example, I can dance. Could is used for past ability or to sound polite. For example, could I help? May is used for formal permission or chance. May I sit here? Might is used for small possibility. For example, it might snow. Should is used for giving advice. For example, you should sleep. Ought to. This is used for advice as well, but formally. For example, you ought to go. Must is used for giving strong obligation. For example, you must listen. Have to. This is used when we're talking about rule or necessity. For example, I have to work. Shall is used for offers in UK English. For example, shall we start? Will is used to talk about the future or for promises. For example, I'll text you. And finally, would is used in hypothetical situations or to sound polite. For example, I would travel. Now it's your turn. Write 1 sentence for each modal verb in the comment section. I will happily check and give you feedback. For example, I can cook pasta. I could run 10 kilometers when I was 20. It may rain, and so on. If this video helped, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you never miss another video like this one. And don't forget to share this video with a friend learning English too. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.